And we're
And
live.
we're live. Jinx. All right. Skyfall, Blind Dreamer. Nice to see you again, buddy.
It's good seeing your voice again as well.
Yes, you do see with voices, that's for
Yep.
sure.
Uh,
Um, so, yeah, last time we talked was not that long ago. We actually had the pleasure of meeting up in person. And it's very rarely that I get to ever link up with other dreamers in the real world. So grateful for Skyfall here, who has been such a shining light in the field of lucid dreaming. I'll let him kind of introduce himself and tell you a little bit more about what he does.
well, thank you for the introduction. I'm Skyfall Blind Dreamer. For those of you who do not know me, which is probably I'm not sure how many of that will be depending on the communities that you're in. But for those of you who don't, I am a lucid dreamer now for a couple years. I'm visually impaired. I've been visually impaired my entire life. I have a genetic condition that causes blindness and kidney failure. So I basically won the genetic lottery from my parents. And all that aside, I love travel. I love lucid dreaming. I love a good joke. And I really like to try to help people learn what I've developed this passion for over the years since I actually learned what lucid dreaming was. And that carries through to what I do on Discord and on Reddit in particular these days to just help anyone I find try to learn lucid dreaming and try to help people where they are whenever I can. And so that's just what kind of drives me to keep going. I have a passion for the subject. I love the field. I love hearing about the new research that's being done. I love just learning more about it and just seeing people succeed with it. It's a lot of fun, and I like to try to carry that energy over into sort of how I talk to people, my conversations with people, and just I like to always have a good time whenever I'm out doing this kind of thing. And I really hope that whatever I have these sort of conversations, they are helpful to somebody out there somewhere.
That's so true. And thank you for all of that. I think you put it very well. It's really just about making a one on one connection like we're doing here, having an honest conversation. And if I know us at all, and I think I know you a little bit, Skyfall, and that's to say that we're going to disagree a little bit here, and
Probably.
we may just politely and civilly diverge in our opinions in some ways, and in a lot of ways, he corrects me on a lot of fundamental knowledge that I think comes down to what may seem like a difference in semantics, but really boils down to a difference of meaning and intention. So let's talk a little bit more about basic lucid dreaming practices, since most of our audience is going to be tuning in to hear about that, right? And then, yeah, we can go from there. So, what would you do if I started off saying I'm a dreamer, or I dream to have lucid dreams, but I don't remember them? Where do you go from there?
Well, first, what I'll probably do is I'll wait for this garage door to finish opening, closing, whatever it's doing now. I think it's opening again. I don't really care. So now that that's done, first thing I'd do is I would try to, ask that person. So you're not remembering your dreams. Well, do you remember any dreams? You just not remember anything? Are you
No
trying?
dreams at all.
You trying to remember your dreams? Are you doing anything to try to remember your dreams at all?
Well, I want to lucid dream. I think it would be pretty cool. I heard you can fly, and I want to see what that feels like.
So is that your main reason? You think it's cool, so you wanna do it? Because that's basically kind of how I got started, honestly. I
Well,
I heard
I
about it
mean,
and yeah, it sounded
I
really
was
cool.
gonna say, I'm afraid of heights. So for me personally, flying is kind of like flirting with fear and learning from it. But I'm a little embarrassed of that. So yeah, I just think it would be cool, and maybe you could tell me about why you uh, like lucid dreaming.
Honestly, if I'll just do that first. Honestly, I like lucid dreaming because it's cool as hell. That's why I got into it. I was like, oh, well, I'm already remembering dreams, and I think my dreams are fun. Now it'd just be even more fun if I could actually know that I'm dreaming and do epic cool crap that I can't do while awake. And that's literally it. It's my own basically VR kind of immersive reality experience. And I consider myself to be somewhat creative in terms of just my imagination. So I just enjoy the world for what it is. But when you're just starting out and you're trying to go from no recall to lucid dreaming. You basically have to discover your own dreams, your own dreaming, and that starts with the realization that you are dreaming, even if you don't remember them. You're dreaming like 4 to 6 times a night, and so there are several things you can do to remember them. The most recommended thing is journaling your dreams. Basically, this involves in a format of your own choosing, basically recording your dreams in as much detail as you are comfortable with. And this will vary from person to person. The reason why I say instead of just as much detail total as versus as much detail as you're comfortable with, some people will have nothing or very little to record. Some people might have, say, 3 pages worth of details, and it could actually become a chore to try to record all of it. And so that's what say the level of detail you're comfortable with. That can influence your future recall to an extent, how much you're actually caring about recording, and the reason you record your dreams, there's a couple of them. One, you record them to help you reinforce those memories and remember them. You help that helps you set intentions to remember dreams in the future. It makes dream memories more important to you, and it allows you to go back through and analyze your dreams and look for dream signs or any potential recurring dream signs or recurring themes or patterns that you could use to help clue you into the fact that you were dreaming. That's the most like one of the most recommended things for recall, but there are several things you can do in addition to that that kind of help support and reinforce your dream recall. Obviously, I just mentioned setting intentions, so that'd be like before you go to sleep, you're deciding, yeah, I want to remember my dreams when I wake up. So when I wake up, I want to remember when I'm dreaming. And so that goes to those components of an intention, which I've discussed in other places, but just to go over again,
No, no. I think that's a mantra, right?
no. So an intention is a decision to perform a future action generally associated with the circumstances in which you want to perform that action. So you're deciding now, hey, like I really need some eggs when I go to the store and I'm going to the store tomorrow. So when I go to the store, I'm going to remember to pick up those eggs. And so you might write it down on your list, for example, on your shopping list. You remember to take that with you, and that's another form of intention. It's reinforcing that intention. The more important it is to you, and the more you think about it, the more you are likely to remember it. It's why if you say, for example, have a really important meeting or a really important thing to do that you really care about, and you set an alarm to wake up, you might wake up like 5 minutes before that alarm goes off because this is important to you, and you've decided to do this, and that intention is carrying over and causing you to wake up before your alarm goes off. Happens to a lot of people, myself included, actually. So it's one of those things. That's an intention. You're wanting to remember your dreams in this case, and alongside that, rereading your dream journal. So when you have some entries in there, rereading it helps reinforce that intention and set that intention. And then
I
to the
think
waking
that's
up
great
side,
advice.
yeah, it is. Well, thank. Oh, sorry. It is pretty useful because it's basically you're going through the dreams, you're looking at them, and you're associating that, okay, so these are dreams that I've had. I want to remember more of these. The more I remember, the better. But let's go over to the waking side just for a minute. When you wake up, you best thing you can do is to try not to be too startled awake, getting startled by really loud alarms, for example, or really startling things. Dream memories can fade. For some people, they can stick around longer than others. Getting really distracted is one of the best ways to forget dreams because you wake up, you gotta turn this alarm off. Gotta get out of bed. Gotta do this. You got like 10 different things on your mind. You wake up and the last thing you're thinking about is your dreams. The best way to remember dreams is for them to be the first thing you're thinking about. To think about what you were just doing, what you're just dreaming. And so when I wake up this morning and I'm laying in bed and I get a phone call and take that call, but I'm also thinking about this dream I just had about being on the Carnival Mardi Gras and trying to remember it and make sure that, it sticks with my memory. But one of the things you can do is called dream delving, and this is done immediately when you wake up. So, like usually within seconds. I like to measure the time between waking up and dream delving in seconds because it's one of those things you're trying to grasp those memories as quickly as possible. You stay in the position you woke up in, and you do this because of something called state dependent memory. It's basically you have memories associated with the state in which they happen. In this case, it's not just the dreams themselves being the state, but the state of your body when those dreams happen. In that case, your position that you were sleeping in when you woke up. And so you stay in that position, and it helps you associate with those memories and remember them. You start at the end generally because those are the memories that are easiest to recall because they just happened. And memories work through association. So that memory should be associated to something that happened before it. And you work your way backwards until you've gotten as much as you can. And if you can't think of anything, then try to consider, okay, what was I thinking about? Are there any ideas that come to mind? Any concepts, emotions, any sensory impressions, sight, sound, touch, taste, and any sensory impressions, anything you can get. And once you've gotten as much as you can, try to record. Again, go back to that journaling aspect. It's a full cycle. So you reread your dreams, you set those intentions, you wake up, you dream delve, you journal, and then that fuels the cycle. It becomes a daily cycle, basically, of dream recall.
Wow, that's a lot. That sounds like a full chore. I don't. That sounds like too much. I don't know if it's really worth it. I mean, I just wanted to fly, and that sounds like. I mean, those are just regular dreams. Dreams don't mean anything. I mean, why would you want to remember your regular dreams? I think you mentioned something about dream signs in there as well, and rereading your dreams. I mean, I like to kind of play role play and like get into like what
Mhm.
I think a lot of our regular community population represents, but for the sake of like clarity, because I don't think I can put enough inflection on my voice right now for you to tell when I'm playing different characters.
I know you're playing
Um,
a character. Full disclosure, this is role play basically. He's playing the role of a beginner lucid dreamer. He's not a beginner. He's playing the role of one to give you an idea of the kind of things that beginners might want to learn, or what it's like starting from nothing to try to learn basic things about lucid dreaming.
so everything you just said, if you just listen to that on repeat, it's a 10 minute. It wouldn't even be 10 minutes if you just listen to what Skyfall said, little lullaby to bed, and I promise you, you will get it into your head that that is the process to lucid dreaming. You have to start improving your recall. Actually, I would argue would start with why you want to dream because that's going
Yeah.
to carry you through all the work he describes. But really, he lists it out beautifully. Start with improving your recall, and that starts with an intention. An intention isn't just a mantra, although you can use affirmative phrases like "I will remember my dream" to encourage the habit, right? And then start with your dream journal the night before. If you don't have one, make one, right? Start with a blank page. That's the most powerful page, right? You can't mess up a blank page. You got to start there. So wherever you do, whatever you put down, including the time you go to bed, is just a document that you can reference for the future that's going to act as a log for your adventures into the dream world. Now, he he said a lot, and we didn't really get into practical steps for journaling because Skyfall keeps quite the system of records for himself, and he's at the point where he doesn't even need to dream journal. So when I say he's a walking
Actually,
paradox, then yes, you need to listen to everything he says and
actually,
then realize he's not following his own advice at all.
yes, and I do need to clarify this for because he what he said is only partly accurate. He doesn't actually have the full story because I never needed to dream journal in the first place.
Never. Interesting.
In fact, I started lucid dreaming in October of 2020. So this is, in the middle of, the C pandemic, COVID. COVID is a C word. We shouldn't say that here. That's profane.
What?
Yeah. Anyway,
We'll
anyway.
put that cough in the right place.
Yep.
We'll get flagged for some type of misinformation big time, and
Uh,
we're just talking about lucid dreaming.
anyway, so all this is going on. Obviously, for a lot of people, it
Ryan,
really.
Ryan, last thing for this joke. Where's the censorship in lucid dreaming misinformation, my friend?
Anyway,
I'm just
anyway,
kidding. All right, go back to what you say.
anyway, so COVID is a pretty downer time for a lot of people. One of my
Yes.
favorite things to do is travel and to be around other people, and yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, it sucks.
When your house
Still
becomes
sucks.
when you basically are under de facto house arrest because you can't go anywhere and do anything, it sucks. It's depressing. It sucks. Anyway, so I discovered lucid dreaming. The thing is, though, I only ever journaled lucid dreams back then because I could remember my dreams without having to write them down for a time at least. And so I started journaling, I think the first day I started voice record journaling on April 28th, I believe, 2021. So about 6 months after I started lucid dreaming. And I've really only journaled as a matter of record keeping. So yes, don't do what I say, not what I do in this case, because what I
Yes.
do is because when my recall started, it was abnormal compared to the average person. My recall, I was already remembering without even trying at least one dream a night or every couple of days or even multiple dreams every night without even trying, without even doing anything. And so I thought here's actually a really cool thing about dreams, okay? And this is something that stems from the fact that a lot of people just don't talk about dreams in public and to other people a lot. And so what you end up with is a lot of people in their own little bubbles when it comes to dreaming. And you might talk about dreams tangentially, like, oh, I had this dream, or you talk about dreams with family and friends or whatever, and just very tangentially. It's like it's a thing that happens, but you don't really talk about it in detail, like how you dream. And so you end up with this kind of idea because there's the ideas of dreaming and media are like so like vague and like not detailed that you think that everyone dreams the same way you do if you don't talk to people about it. And so for me, I grew up thinking, well, everybody's remembering dreams every night. That's just a normal thing. And then I started learning lucid dreaming. It's like, are you telling me there are people who don't remember their dreams? What? What's this? And I'm
Yeah,
sure it's
I
the
think
same way for people who don't remember their dreams. It's like, yeah,
that was how I got started. So
yeah,
if you're not familiar with the story, the realization that we dream every night at the age of, I don't know, maybe 16. So let's just say over a decade ago now. I'm that old.
yeah,
I realized I was dreaming every night for that long and couldn't remember since what I was a child. And it's like every kid knows how to dream. It's as an adult that we forget we already know how, and then we have this whole belief that we have to relearn. But I think what Skyfall has done is tap into this natural ability, and he has this analytical mind like none I've ever seen. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about what his dreams are like, and what that process of what I consider to be memory recollection, uh, experience is for him. So if I were to just speculate here, guys, let's all like kind of taken aside, and I'll take my science hat off for a second and put my philosopher hat on. What are dreams? Right? Do you have an answer for me there, right? Skyfall?
well, dreams are honestly like just in the actual sense of the experiences. These they're uninhibited associative experiences is probably the best description I give. Uninhibited in the sense that the laws of physics, laws of reality don't apply. Things that associate to each other can do so in very abstract and odd ways. They can be very inconsistent. There are no rules for the kinds of experiences you can have, and they can be so out of left field or just so crazy at times that you have no idea like why am I flying an F like why am I flying a fighter jet over Iran as a courier getting shot down and then having to escape by flying a plane into some other spot while there's another team on this raft in the Pacific Ocean. That was a dream that happened in 2020. It was crazy. It was amazing though. So why am I dreaming about that? It's just like these abstract things just associate to each other in these really weird ways, and they can make for some people they can make for like nightmare experiences because they get scared of it. Like, so you see something you don't understand or you don't know because it's this weird abstract association, and maybe you have this like lingering fear or anxiety that's sticking with you or stress in your life, and so you have this stress dream and you get fear, you get afraid and anxious, and so now you're having this nightmare situation. Or you just see this like really crazy things and it's like this action adventure suspense dream, and you're all of a sudden you're John McClane from Die Hard, and you're just like taking out all these terrorists. Like it's dreams are wild. Like they're uninhibited. You can have dreams just about anything, and you can behave in dreams so radically different than you would while awake. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
and
that's
let
the
me just
best way to
say
describe it.
really quickly, Bruce
Yeah.
Willis is having a really hard time, guys. Keep him in your thoughts, and realize that that's a celebrity who's left us with a long lasting impression that Skyfall continues to include in our daily life. I hate to see celebrity news for people that hit home like that, because it feels like we know them, right?
Mhm.
It feels like they're a part of our identity. And I realize with dreams how much Hollywood has had such a subliminal impact on my subconscious mind. And it feels like a lot of the same relationship mechanics that work with the human brain for our small tribal civilizations still are employed through the sort of like reptilian brain, right? And allow us to uh, sort of make these associations with people who are on screen and who we have in person as well. And it's kind of alarming to me that the brain can somehow perceive a person in real life and a person on screen and they look the same. But more importantly, that a person in a dream can be just as real as a person in real life, and it goes beyond just vision, right? It's your voice, it's your essence, it's it's the situation. It really does depend on your associations and how you know true to life your recall is. But I think that what Skyfall is saying is that these uninhibited associative experiences, is that what you said in a nutshell?
Basically, yeah.
Are That's a great way to just paraphrase it. Uninhibited associative experiences are replaying your memories of your day. So if you're spending your time, energy, and emotion on getting invested in that great movie, and that action scene really had an impact, and you felt the adrenaline of the climax, and and then there was a resolution. You carry that message, if not you know in a Jungian way, through the archetypes.
Mhm.
And I really think there's a lot to say about that alone. And every time you speak, it's like a million associations alone. So it's like I'm living the dream. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna try to get back in the role and act like I don't know anything you've ever said before. But I'm stuck on a few details that you brought up. Like you said, I first of all, I don't dream. You can't tell me I do dream. You said I dream 4 to 5 times a night, and there's no way, no way, because I only sleep like 3 hours.
Well, in that case, if you're only sleeping 3 hours, you probably dream at least two times because so our sleep's broken down into approximately 90-minute cycles. And so each cycle is about 90 minutes. You go through the different stages in sleep cycle. You will have an REM period, but we also dream outside of REM. It's just REM dreams, rapid eye movement sleep dreams are the easiest to remember. Although if you're only sleeping 3 hours a night, I mean, this as a hypothetical here, that is extremely unhealthy. I mean, you're you're only hurting yourself in the long term, just in general, by if you're sleeping only 3 hours a night. The healthy sleep for adults is approximately like 7 to 9 hours, and then for kids it's about 8 to 10. And so, this is a hypothetical, obviously, but say there is someone out there you are only sleeping 3 hours a night. Lucid dreaming really, lucid dreaming is awesome. But that's not the first concern here. The first concern is getting healthy sleep. And so if you're not
Thank
getting
you.
healthy sleep, that's your first priority here.
Yes, so true. And I think interestingly enough, there's an inverse there. You can oversleep in a way, right? You can't just sleep your life away and have amazing
Yeah.
dreams, because that's also going to affect what Skyfall is talking about, the cycles of sleep, the stages within the cycle of sleep. So I'm just going to continue to try and wrap my head around what you're saying, because you process so fast. Um, so basically, 90 minutes, you have a complete cycle, but you dream only part of the time, like the last few minutes, or what? Like,
So that's actually incorrect. So there are typically, depending on which system you use, there could be 4 or 5 sleep stages. The typical, I think, American Academy of Sleep Medicine's stages are non-REM stage one, non-REM stage two, non-REM stage three, and rapid eye movement sleep. And so they're characterized by different features, but typically you'll go through, and you don't necessarily go through these in order. It's not like you always go through N1, N2, N3, and REM. You can bounce between the stages. You can go N1, N2, N3, N2, REM, N2, N1. You can kind of bounce between some of these stages. Though there are a couple things that are pretty well known though. One of them is your N3 sleep period. It's called delta sleep or slow wave sleep. That's your deep sleep. That's where you're getting your most restorative sleep and your rest. You can still dream in that stage, but if you dream in that stage, those will be the hardest to recall. Typically, that's your deepest sleep stage, your least active stage of sleep. That
is what?
happens
Say that again. What's
the
the
stage
deepest? I thought dreams were the deepest.
no non-REM stage three. In fact, okay, he's being funny here, but actually, that is a common misconception. A lot of people think that rapid eye movement sleep, where your most vivid dreams occur, not your only dreams. A lot of people conflate that you only dream in rapid eye movement sleep. This is not true. You can dream in any sleep stages, and there have been studies on this that show that you do dream in non-REM sleep as well. But rapid eye movement sleep is commonly mistaken as a deep sleep stage. That couldn't be farther from the truth. It's one of its other names is paradoxical sleep because it actually demonstrates a lot of features that are similar to waking, except you're actually asleep. So it's actually a light sleep stage, and a lot of people just don't understand that. People just think that, oh well, I need to have it's a deep sleep thing. It's actually not, and I think it's one of the common sleep misconceptions is that your dreams are your deep sleep. That's REM sleep. My own father actually had that misconception for a long time until we actually learned about it. And to be honest, I didn't know better until I learned what it actually was, not too all that long ago. So I think it's kind of important to know that a lot of people just sleep is kind of a niche thing. A lot of people don't spend their lives just studying sleep and trying to understand it. So, but once you do, it's really eye opening. I think to coin a phrase. that I wouldn't
That's a
normally
great
use. But
it's a great way of putting
but
it. No, and I would
yeah,
say
it's
third eye
yeah.
opening.
I
No,
wouldn't go
I'm
that.
just
I
kidding.
wouldn't go that far. Yeah, no,
I know.
but
Hold on, let's backtrack a little bit.
yeah,
So, because I'm trying to just keep up. So, basically, you have these different stages or phases of sleep, and you could dream anytime, but you usually have better or longer dreams towards the end of your sleep. And from what I understand, the longer you sleep, the longer you dream. Is
that's
that fair to say?
so just if we're just looking at REM sleep and not non-REM sleep, but like I said, you dream in non-REM sleep as well. REM periods do get longer as you sleep, and N3 gets shorter. Your longest N3 periods are at the very beginning of the night, and your longer REM periods are at the end. And so you end up having a reduction. You're basically the first couple sleep cycles are when you're going to have most of your N3 sleep, and then you have longer REM periods as they progress. So the more you sleep typically, you can have your most vivid and easiest to remember dreams typically in like the last couple hours of sleep. Those are the dreams that people are most likely to remember. If you're going to say of all the dreams I had, just counting REM dreams, so you got 4 to 6 dreams or 4 to 7 dreams every night, just counting REM sleep dreams, not counting non-REM dreams. The dreams that'll be the easiest to remember for anybody are going to be those ones at the end, the longest, most vivid, right at the end, last sleep cycles, closest to waking up. Those are going to be the ones that are easiest to remember. So the longer you sleep, the better your chances are of remembering dreams, as long as you're getting, healthy amount of sleep, obviously.
Yeah, I really do need to get more sleep. But actually, I disagree with you. I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. The only time I ever dream, and I haven't in a long time, is when I wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes, I remember a dream more when I wake up in the middle of the night than I do when I'm waking up in the morning. Maybe it's because of my alarm. Didn't you say you want to start slow? How can
So
I wake up without an alarm though?
through intentions, but the first thing is,
Strong, and you did say that.
yeah. Well, we hadn't gotten there yet, but you are just messing with me at this point. Anyway, but
All right, so sorry. Let's wrap this up just briefly because we're coming on 30 minutes. I
yeah,
heard a lot of what you said, but I think the important takeaways are that sleep matters. Get enough sleep first, and then you can try to start remembering your dreams. So
yeah,
if you're not sleeping enough, make sure you're making time for that. And then I would argue make sure you're sleeping around the same time because it helps your body understand your own individual cycles, your circadian rhythm. If you give it the regular cues and triggers, and let's call it a reward of sleep, and that is a great place to start. And then you can focus on the dream journal, which
yeah.
is a whole process in and of itself. But starting with just the intention to remember, and then writing down whatever you do, and then even writing in it if you don't, I think is the
That
next logical
that
step,
is
right?
also, yeah. We've kind of gone like so off the rails, like just on a in a tangent wise. I think
30 minutes, we've covered a lot.
I know we've covered a lot, but like I don't think we've covered much of what we actually set out to cover when we started planning. So
Not
that's
at all.
really, really funny. So we've not even really touched on that. Like it's actually been kind of funny, but maybe
These conversations steer themselves always.
yeah, it's like basically we came up with a plan for the conversation and then we threw it out the nearest airlock as soon as we started. um,
All right, so what? So let me ask you, what is it you feel needs to be addressed?
I was just going to discuss like my basic history and like what got me into lucid dreaming and
Yeah.
what got me
So
going.
it feels like we're kind of starting like the whole thing is backwards.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, Yoda was really onto something. I
I
think
don't
that
know what it
yeah,
was.
I I think that's how I write in my dream journal sometimes because it feels like I have to start writing with the end and then going backwards like, name then place then thing instead of proper, it's like the syntax is all mixed up, but the essence of the sentence is still there, and maybe that's why we misinterpret a lot of symbolism in our dreams. I don't
If
know.
you really want to challenge yourself, you can always write right to left and really write backwards. But um,
That's
anyway,
a good memory. That's a good thought exercise. I'm gonna try that. I fancy myself as being ambidextrous. So, I feel like you want to use your hand for a lot of things, but you want to be able to do a lot of other things with your free
okay.
hand.
Well,
So,
in the time that we have left, I want to go into a little bit of my history, kind of what got me started with lucid dreaming.
Let's
Um,
hear it. And then if we could just end on what you're working on currently and where people can find you, I'm sure they're going to have a ton of questions about everything you've said,
I don't,
and
I
it's
mean,
a lot easier to read
the thing
because
is,
you're fast.
we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, we've barely covered anything. There's only so much you can do in an hour, which is why I like to live stream for longer than that. But so
Yeah.
how I started about 3 years ago. It's I got into a little bit of this, but not too much. So what got me into it is I heard about it from a YouTube channel called the Infographics Show, which I hear that his visuals are only so-so, which that didn't really apply to me. But anyway, I learned about it. I heard about it. It's like, wow, this is really cool. I wasn't in a great place in my life back then either, and I was like, wow, I can actually learn to do this. And of course, I had the misconception, as the most common misconception is that lucid dreaming is controlling your dreams. And I found a YouTube channel. It's called Explore Lucid Dreaming, and I proceeded basically to learn all of the basically common misconceptions at the time. And some of most people learned from. That's how I started. And I got on this Discord server called Dream Cafe. This was back in the early days. So that server started in I think August or July of 2020, and I got on October. So this is way back in the early days of lucid dreaming discords, or at least that one in particular. There are other ones that were active, but that one back in the day. So I get started on there, and I'm pretty quick to find out that within a week or two, I'm talking to people, and I'm starting to discover that a lot of people don't really know what they're talking about. In the sense that one of the things I did early on is I heard about this book, Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Dr. Stephen LaBerge, and I bought it. I think it remains one of the only lucid dreaming purchases I've ever made because I couldn't find it online any other way at the time. And being visually impaired, actually, just an aside here, there are ways there's certain services where we can get a lot of books free of cost, and that's actually one of the benefits of being visually impaired is it gives us access to a whole plethora of fiction and nonfiction, and it really makes reading accessible. And reading is such a pivotal thing for a lot of people. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Anyway, so I'm reading this book, and I'm hearing the creator of the mild technique describe how to do it. I'm going like, this doesn't sound like what I heard on YouTube. And so I'm going on Discord.
Mantra.
And I'm trying to say, okay, so the creator of the technique says it's done this way, yet the YouTube channel says this, and no one can give me an answer. This is October, so this is a long time ago, October 2020, and I finally find a guy who goes by the name of Sensei, and he could give me an answer. And so I basically started learning from him and just a couple other people exclusively ever since. I ended up in a couple of communities with them where we were just bouncing ideas off each other, and that's basically how I learned. I was doing milds from that point, the proper way. I was coming up with my own versions and my own ways to do it. And what I wanted to do is try to help people. It's always something like when I've been on some games and I learned how things work. I if I'm navigating a place and someone needs help and I don't move around, it's just in my nature to try to help people when I can, give directions, help people understand something. And so I find myself doing that with lucid dreaming and trying to help people understand things. And pretty soon on, I find myself on the front lines of trying to combat some of these common misconceptions. And it starts on Discord primarily, and it works on there for a few years. And I'm part of that community. I've been part of that community since 2020, and there's a whole group of people who I really got to know there, and who got to know me there, and I've developed some connections with some really decent folks thanks to that. So 2021 goes through there. Starting to do live streams at the end of the year, just very slowly, one thing at a time. 2022 comes around, and July of that year, I go to the International Dream Conference in Tucson, and it was this amazing experience. I really wanted to do it. I was like, wow, these are people who actually study this for a living, and I would love to see what these people do because it is honestly amazing. It's like your favorite thing in the world, or something you really love, and then you go meet a whole bunch of different people who do this for a living and who actually try to figure out how it all works. It is the most cool, nerdy, awesome thing I could think of. And so I just have a great time.
Nerds
I
rule.
blast there. Yes, nerds rule.
That sounds amazing. And yeah, I mean, just to see all of those people in the same room, to feel that energy, to literally just know that there are others out there who are interested in this niche subject that seems so strange because who likes to talk about their dreams. But the more we do it, guys, the more people will wake up. So I think it's so important. And what Skyfall is doing through social media, one on one with people like Sensei or me, or even, complete noobs on Reddit, is truly where the
Uh,
magic happens.
jumping the
So,
gun just a bit. Let's get to Reddit. So how I do that. I tried to do a thing in the fall. One of the things I'd love to do at some point is to get involved in like some like I would love to get involved in like lucid dreaming research at some point or getting involved in projects, but to me that's kind of a long-term goal because one things I learned by looking at what it would take to get involved in those kind of things is that you need a really good team of people to work with you. You need to have a solid plan in advance. You need to understand, have clear and achievable goals, what you want to do. You need to have a system for how you're going to do it. You need to have a way to keep team members communicating and keep team members accountable. So there's a lot that goes into it. And so I had a failed experience where I wanted to try to do with something, and I didn't really talk about it too much because I didn't want to get people's hopes up for something that I wasn't sure if it would pan out or not. And what I learned from that falling through is, basically the importance of teamwork, the importance of having a good group of people with you, of trying to connect with people and build networks and make sure if you're going to try to run something to have sort of an idea of how you're going to do it and that everyone's on the same page and you have good, solid foundational communication, you cannot succeed in anything without good communication. And so that's one of the things I really learned. And so in the future, I would love to do some types of projects at some point where I could do something like that, but it's going to be one step at a time if I ever get that way and take it slow and make sure that you start with the basics and you have a really good, solid team of people and you don't jump the gun or try to do anything prematurely. And so I think that's one of the biggest things I took away from the fall of 2022. And that brings me to Reddit. I ended up on Reddit in December, I think it's December 16th, 2022, right around there. And I had always heard from people on Discord and people who had been on Reddit before that Reddit was just a hotbed of misinformation. And apparently it was several years ago. A lot of people just giving really bad advice. But one of the things I did, what brought me to Reddit is so you have all these top posts that get upvoted, and sometimes they're pretty sensational or pretty crazy things. Sometimes they're not. But that doesn't show you what people are actually doing. And so I learned within the first day or two to basically sort posts by newest first and to go through a day's posts and to see what people were actually saying. And what I saw, or rather what I read, was people just looking for help. That is what Reddit is. Reddit is a community of people looking for help, generally looking to learn lucid dreaming. And there are a lot of posts that have really few comments. And what I saw is an opportunity and a need. People who need help learning, people who could use assistance, people who are just trying to learn to lucid dream and posting out there, hoping people will respond to them. And so I saw a need in the community. And so I'm working to try to help people there to learn lucid dreaming. And it's kind of become something I've enjoyed doing. And I've been doing that now on and off for the past year. And I will say it's been pretty rewarding overall. I've definitely gotten a better respect for the community as a whole on Reddit. There are a good solid core of experienced lucid dreamers there who will help people. And I feel like the forum back and forth content is actually a pretty good structure. I like the structure of it and the way that people can communicate on there. And so I do think that RSS Lucid Dreaming is a pretty good place to learn. And I'm always gratified to see people who are actually succeeding. It is an amazing thing when people are actually getting results and putting in the practice. But there's a lot of stuff that has to be undone, a lot of common misconceptions out there, a lot of things that beginners come into this just not knowing because there's not a lot of great resources out there that people are directed to. And when you look for popular media sources, you find misinterpretations, misconceptions, and inaccurate advice that leads people astray and gives people the wrong idea. And so there's a lot that has to sort of be corrected up front. And so that's one of the things I always try to do is to help people have an accurate understanding of what they're actually getting into and to proceed along that way.
I love what I heard about starting with the newest post and, not going towards the sensational, most upvoted, because that is really nothing other than a social barometer of what people think is cool or, upvote worthy, whatever that means. And maybe it's the algorithm fluffing, the types of content they want posted. Who's to say? But let me tell you, when you start with the numbers and you're just looking at the one upvote, the one person across from you that makes a difference, and you hear their concerns and you just want to help, that's Skyfall in a nutshell. And, the testimonials are out there, people. So I think that's a fair place to find you, right? If they're interested in seeing some of what you've said, they can find your comments, or, even maybe make a post, and
Yeah.
hope that, like Batman, you somehow find them
Mhm.
and, solve their lucid dreaming problems. But I am always surprised to see the quality of advice you give people, because it always starts with the questions you have for people about what they're doing, who they are, why they want to do it. So what a great place to start. And finish, I guess, if you could just let us know where people can find you. We're at 40 minutes now, and I'm at 34%, so we've done well.
Nice. Your phone is holding up better than I thought it would. So
Oh, I have a work phone, let me tell you.
it has a
And if you could see the
screen.
screen, it's like a working reality check, because it's just flittering light, cracked in all different corners from
Oh,
where it's fallen a
beautiful.
million places.
That is
Shards of glass. Every time you wanna get into it, you gotta play a
mhm.
blood sacrifice.
Oh, nice.
So
Oh,
yeah, that's the
so
working phone.
so
But
you can
it's
find
working
me.
fine.
You can right, this is if you're watching this, you're either watching this on my YouTube channel at Skyfall Blind Dreamer, or you're watching this on Night Owl's podcast when he launches it. So you're watching that in one of those two places. So obviously, you'll probably know that you can find me at Skyfall Blind Dreamer on YouTube. You can comment on things. I will comment on other videos mostly. I'll upload things every now and then. I'll do live streams every now and then. A lot of what I do is commenting on other people's posts and videos and try to help people or give feedback. You can also find me at Skyfall Blind Dreamer on Reddit. The best way to contact me there is to message. Now, the Reddit has a chat feature, a DM feature. That is not very accessible. It is not something I like. I never use it, and so my apologies to anyone who's tried reaching out to me there. I'm not ignoring you because I don't want to talk to you. I'm ignoring that because the chat feature on Reddit is not accessible and does not really work well for me. And so, if you want to find me, you can find my profile. Reddit.com/u/Skyfall Blind Dreamer. That's all one word. And you can hit the more options send message button, and you can send me a message there. And I should be able to respond. That's probably the best way to reach out to me physically. Also, if I find your Reddit post and I respond to it, I'll respond to that. If you find a comment you want to reply to it, if it gives me a notification, that's the best way for me to respond. Just try not to spam. um,
Yeah, and
but yeah.
you don't find me, I find you. Okay, Night Owl is not my username. You will not, unless you are seeing this podcast. It is directly sent to you, and you are meant to see it. All right. Enough hokey pokey. Hey, Skyfall. Anything else for anybody who chooses to listen to this? I know I will be later, and
So
thank you for bearing with my obnoxiousness. I appreciate everything you've said. It's
your
full
role
of
play was
gold.
fine. Your role play is fine. Anyway,
This is who I am. It sucks.
what I will say for people is in terms of lucid dreaming and dream recall, we really just scratched the surface. We might have more discussions in the future. I think we could probably do a little role play series about introduction to lucid dreaming questions. In fact, that might be something I look at doing for the next video, of doing a little bit of role play on just some basic advice and questions that for beginners might have. I think that's something that we might do in the future. So stay tuned for that because you may see that later on. But what I would say is that lucid dreaming is a skill. So don't be discouraged if you're not getting results immediately. Make sure to keep practicing. Make sure you've done some research and you have an understanding of what you are practicing and what you are doing. And then you have that dream recall foundation and that you're practicing your lucid dreaming techniques consistently and treat it like a skill that it is and go from there. We've barely scratched the surface. There's a lot we could get into here, but we just don't have the time to get into really anything substantive because there's just so much that you could talk about. And so I'd like to appreciate everyone. Thank everyone for listening. Um, and look forward to talking to y'all again.
Yeah, so as a sort of, again, the social barometer, right? We're not going to trust the upvotes. Where I think the quality resides is the comments. So if anybody listens to us, let us know down in the comments below. Definitely drop a secret code word like um, are you dreaming, right? Make anybody who reads the comment section wonder why everybody's saying just are you dreaming. Don't
Yeah.
say anything else unless you have a question. Definitely let us know, and let us know anything you want us to dive deeper on, because
Also,
we got a lot to say.
since we don't take upvotes too seriously, if you just really didn't like this, please be sure to leave us a like, because then we probably won't take it too seriously.
Yeah, we ignore the ones that do well. We really want to focus on room for improvement.
But no,
All right.
all jokes aside, if you did like the video, please give a like and subscribe, of course. And thank you very much for watching. I do hope all of you have a good day.
Sweet dreams.